If you hear it clicking, don't freak out, guys. That's JJ.
Oh yeah, I'm a fidgety guy, man.
Yes, you are, but it's okay. It's okay. Yo! What a do, GG Nation, GG Legion. It's your fella again, Straussman the GG. Welcome to another Spoilercast. An exciting one. Month in the making. And I have, of course, the White Assassin himself, my lovely cousin JJ. How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm excited to talk about this one. Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil 8. An actual direct continuation of Resident Evil 7. Ethan Winters and Mia Winters' story is continued. I beat it 3 times now. I beat it on normal, then I did a casual run. And then I skipped hardcore, and I beat it on the hardest difficulty, Village of Shadows. So I had the unlimited stake magnum, and I just was mowing down people. It was very fun to do. Very close to the platinum to this game. To show my power and dominance over JJ. And then I'm going to go back to 7, then show my power and dominance again and platinum that one. And defeat those moldy bastards over there. But damn, I am having so much damn fun with this game that I think I have a problem. I've been addicted. You know, I beat it 3 straight times. I've just been playing so much. I've just been having fun. And I think it's really masterfully designed in a lot of ways. There is issues with it. We will discuss. Obviously, I want to start with our overall thoughts of the game before we go heavy deep into spoilers. This game's been out for a month now, so we're gonna go pretty quickly, knee deep into spoilers here. I'm excited to talk. JJ's first actual Resident Evil was 7, and I watched him play about 75% of that game. It was the only time he share played with me, because I remember he didn't like doing that on PS4 much. But I think he was a little scared of playing RE7, so he'd always share play with me, and I loved it. And I was like, man, because it was the one Resident Evil I actually really didn't play. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys know, JJ knows, and a lot of you guys know now that I think highly of Resident Evil series overall. I can't believe it's still actually going on. Actually, so many spin-offs, so many movies. Netflix is getting another movie. They're doing another live-action movie. Resident Evil is a huge series. But JJ, what were your overall thoughts of the Village?
I thought it was great. I do like the first person REs better than the third person ones. I think that maybe that's because that's where I started, but I think it's more. Definitely, it's more. I think it brings a little extra fear to it or scariness.
It's more intimate when it's first.
It puts you in the shoes of the character, kind of. You never actually see what Ethan looks like till. Well, I don't think you ever actually get to see what he looks like.
It's because it's supposed to be you, really. It's a representation of you. That's a good point, though. It's always funny, even when you get his character when you buy his character portrait or bio, it's just like his face is darkened out. You can't see who he is.
I thought the story of 7 was better. 95% of the game. Once you leave the baker's place, then I didn't like it as much. But when you're in where the bakers are, that was really good. But this, I do like them trying to put supernatural beasts in their games and then tying it to their world, to have werewolf or lycans and vampire-ish characters and spin it to where it makes sense in their world. I think that's clever and cool.
Yeah,
honestly. So I thought it was a great game.
Pretty well done. We'll talk more because when we get to my favorite moments, some of my favorite moments actually in this game are actually the lore stuff. Connecting all the way to 1. which is excellent, which is really well done. And I don't want to I don't want to have so many biasness about this because there is issues with it. There's for sure there's problems and stuff. But I have to admit it's fucking fun. And let's be honest, RE Stories. We talked about RE2 remake, how it was pretty much most of our game of the years that year of 2019, and you know the stories are always solid. I think they did a better job in this one making you care about Ethan a little bit more because it's more personal to Ethan in this one, not just his wife, his little baby. He's trying to save his baby Rose, and once you find out the big twist of what Ethan is and everything, it's like damn. Like I think they did a better job in this one, getting Ethan, making you feel for Ethan a little bit more in this particular situation compared to the first in RE7. Where RE7 is excellent. RE7 was the start of Capcom's redemption arc in 2017. And that's basically, they've had some misses, but they pretty much hit home runs right after that. You know, Monster Hunter World, like RE7 was the start of that. Monster Hunter World, RE2 remake. I know a lot of people didn't like RE3 remake as much. Devil May Cry 5, Monster Hunter Rise, like Mega Man 11, like all these. There's been some misses in there, but for the most part, that was kind of the start of them kind of getting back to who they were, making great games again. And we're going to talk more about this first-person aspect in a second, but overall, this game is pretty excellent. I am very impressed. Like 7 and 8, for me being a long-time RE fan, it will always be third person for me. But these two games definitely fit the RE universe. They're worthy successors to RE. And in so many ways they are RE, in so many ways they're not RE at the same time. But what I loved about this one was 7 did a great job being a more serious tone. You know, this Baker family's fudged up. What is going on? It's crazy. It's more intimate, more scary with 7. 8 is more RE in my sense of campiness. They are very much hamming it up when they act, and you know, Lady Dimitrescu and Heisenberg, you know, Magneto. I like that the actors had a lot of fun with their roles in this game, where the characters really make the game for me, in my personal opinion. You know, overall, it was just a fun experience, and JJ, you know, hit a lot of points on the head. You know, just a more intimate thing. Like they do it on. I mean, they're shoving things in your face all the time. You know,
well, they close off levels so you can only be in certain, you know, areas are small and I
go ahead.
I just think it's kind of like when, you know, they made this more. Capcom has a tendency to do that, where this was more action focused than then 7 was.
You are 100% right.
They made this was more of their action horror, and I think you told me or someone told me they consciously made this one, tried to make it less scary.
Lou found that article, and I found that pretty funny.
But there's still like 3 or 4 jump scares that you're like, and I don't know if they're purposely there, but like if you turn around and there's a lichen right behind you, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, when you play with the 3D audio headset, it's very excellent. The lichens, you can hear them like scrounging around and stuff. I think they also did a really good job with the diverse enemy selection and the diverse locations. There's a lot of different. While the village is the main hub, there's a lot of different. It's a little samey in the sense of the Baker family, right? Like they have the Baker family in 7. This one's the Mother Miranda family of her her children with infested Cadeau parasites, you know, quote unquote.
It's like you said, the lore, because let's be honest, the RE stories are never, like you said, they're solid, but they're not.
This is not a Ghost of Tsushima.
You don't necessarily play it for his story.
Yeah.
Yes. But like you said, it's some of the most fun you'll have playing a video game, especially this year if you have a PS5. I know it's on PS4, but if you have the PS5 console and
I'm interested to see if anybody knows, if anyone has the PS4 version, let us know. How does that thing run?
Yeah.
Because
you think for like a don't know. I beat it the first time in 10 hours. You probably were similar, maybe a little less. And
11 for me. I was very meticulous my first playthrough.
So it's the replayability value on a game that is only 9-10 hours is insane for this game.
Yeah,
it just is.
RE's always known for that though, and that was a
they
point,
do. Yeah.
A point I wanted to get across from you guys when we did the Devil May Cry Spoilercast is, it's the same way Devil May Cry. You're supposed to constantly go to the next level of difficulty and play and get better and learn new combos and get crazy with those combos. And it's the same thing here. Playing it on the hardest difficulty, the enemy placement's very different. The Lycans are incredibly fast. You get hit once, you're done. For the most part, you're gonna have to heal really quickly, or you're about to drop dead. Very, very. It could be brutal if you didn't prepare for it like I did, where I got the unlimited Magnum steak, where I'm putting them down 1 or 2 shots. But even that, I still had to learn. There were so many different interesting moments where, for example, when Lady Demetress chops your hand off. Again, like this happens to Ethan all the time. He gets his limbs severed all the time. And we'll talk about that. But in that moment on Village of Shadows, the hardest difficulty, there's more enemies in that area when you're running around trying to get your hand back to open that gate. There's more enemies. Their enemy placement is much different in this game, and it's excellently designed. And I actually really appreciated that. It wasn't just, a lot of games have, I hate to say like artificial difficulty, but if you play Call of Duty, Battlefield on the hardest difficulty, one headshot kill, a lot of it's cheesy. Halo, like Halo 2 Legendary difficulty is a broken mess. Like you really have to cheese that thing to get past it. It's not expertly designed. This was masterfully designed on the hardest difficulty, and I really appreciated it, actually, because it actually surprised me on some things. Like, I was expecting, I'm good, I could just run right through here. Nope, there's a bunch of fucking enemies now. Like, oh no. Really well designed. Overall, how did the game feel to you? The guns, the graphics, the movement, the map design? Did you like it better than 7, or you thought 7 did a little bit better job with all those aspects?
I think having the PS5 definitely makes things run better and faster and shit. But just if we're comparing them, they took everything they did in 7 and made it better. And you can tell little things, like the attentions to details, like Ethan, how he reloads a gun is different than in 7. How he does, pulls his knife out or stuff. How he kills, everything is different than how he did it in 7. It wasn't a copy and paste effort. They took the time to, because if you do the lore, he had military training, so they made it to where he looked like he had military training. So
Judo
he knew. But graphically, it looked good. It's cool. The Lycans had like 7 or 8 different models.
Yes,
it wasn't the same one running at you all the time. The character design was fantastic, and the reason why the characters looked like they do was they did a good job of explaining. I love this game, man. I'm slowly becoming an RE stan.
Yeah. I'll echo a lot of your. I really love the guns in this game. When you get some of the special weapons after you can get a lightsaber in this game. I haven't got it yet. It's the only weapon I'm missing. I think I'm going to try to unlock the lightsaber to do my knife run and try to knock out my knife run and my 3-hour run all in one go and casual. Because I'm no hero. I'm not going to try to do it on Village of Shadows difficulty. I already went through that. I chalked it up to the board. I skipped hardcore and went to Village of Shadows, went to the hardest difficulty. And I would honestly recommend, probably if you're a RE... If you're a RE faithful and you've been playing RE your whole life, you probably want to put it on hardcore, to be honest with you. Like, normal was a little too easy for me. I don't know how JJ felt, but for me, I really didn't struggle. There was a couple deaths. Of course, a couple scripted deaths, especially in the reservoir with the damn fish monster, man. But overall, I really thought the map was generally designed really well. I really felt that way too with 7. The layout in 7 I really felt excellent. I do agree with JJ that, like towards the end of 7, where that Mia part and that shit, spoilers for 7, sorry. The ship part, it kind of slows it down a little bit, a little too much.
It felt like 2 separate games.
Yes.
Once you got past, because the Bakers were intimate in every room and scary, and
They were stalking
freaky.
you a lot too.
Yeah. Once you got to the ship part, it felt like they just slapped on. That was the DLC.
Yeah.
And you're getting it, and it felt little to do with that part.
I almost think it's the opposite with this one. I think this one starts out pretty good with the Mia, especially when you replay it and you see how different Mia is and reacts when you find out who Mia is. It's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I already called. Like JJ and I and a lot of us already called this out with Chris. Like they clearly were going to make Chris look like the bad guy. Obviously, he wasn't. We'll talk more spoilers in a second here. But and he's voiced by the same actor that did Carlos in RE3 remake. Not old Chris. It's a newer Chris. And shout out to him. He did an excellent job. I liked him as Carlos, and I loved him as Chris too. I thought he did a really good job. My favorite line: "Ethan, no!" Like he's a dog. Like, dude, you just took his daughter and just killed his wife.
Stop it.
And he's like, "Ethan, no!"
Shit.
It's like, Chris, use your words, man. Like, use your words. But
yeah, why the fuck?
But I think it's a little opposite. Once you, of course, that original Lycan attack is supposed to make you go crazy. But I died a couple times there because I was confused as shit. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Until finally that arrow triggers and hits you in the knee, then you can move on. And I also got, first time ever in a video game, I got motion sick. And it's only because, I'm not going to blame the game for that. I'm going to blame myself because I got a new 4K TV, a 65-inch TV, and I sit pretty damn close. So that was on me. That was on me getting motion sick a little bit. Because after I sat back, cakewalk. I breezed right through the game. Like, I just cruised right through it. And I had a blast. Like, I still haven't put it down. Very close to the platinum to this one. But it's... Once you get on that roller coaster with Lady Dimitrescu, and it starts rolling, it picks up maybe a little too fast. Like, the Belladonna and the Reservoir are very small. Very small. And the two biggest parts is Heisenberg's factory and Lady Dimitrescu. Obviously, they have a rivalry. The other brother and sister are looked down upon. They kind of sit in their own place. And we'll talk more about Belladonna. Like, the lore in this game's excellent. And it's... reason why I probably really love this game is the lore in 7 and 8 are just so good. Just really good. Like I said, always connecting. We're going to get to it in a second. So, we're going to get into heavy spoilers now. I'm just going to give you guys a heads up. We're going to dive right in. But, I'm going to say, if you're a RE fan, if you got a PS5, you played 7, you should definitely pick this game up. You should play it. Enjoy it. We'll give it a rating towards the end. Keep you here. Keep you here. But it's... I think it's a must play. Like, if you're an RE fan, it's definitely a must play. Outside of that, I don't know. If you're looking for something new, you want to get it on a deal or something, I don't blame you. RE7, if you have a PS5, I know a lot of you the last couple of days, Best Buy, Said Place, Walmart, Target, they've been dropping consoles. Congratulations to all of you. Shout out to Elo. He finally got one. Very happy for you. Golf Clap, very happy for you. RE7 is free on the PlayStation Plus collection. Go play it, then hop in 8. And I think you won't regret it. I think you will really enjoy it. I think it's definitely worth a buy. What do you think, JJ?
100%. If you like first-person shooters that really limit your ammo and shit, like you really hamstring you, this is where to go.
Yeah.
It acts as a great first-person shooter that puts you in a bind sometimes.
Yeah, and it's It's really well designed, and plus when you start moving up the ranks and playing on harder difficulties, you're gonna appreciate it. You're gonna really appreciate it. All right, spoiler time. Let's get right into the story, nitty gritty. Is this? How would you rate this, JJ? Great, solid, average, okay, subpar. What was the story for you?
Well,
and compared to 7.
Before, well, as you mentioned before, though, this story ties itself to 1.
Yes. There's always people out there. I want to point this out. My apologies, cousin. That's not going to matter to some people. People are just going to dive right in. I mean, I did it. I've done it quite a few times, too. Uncharted 2, I played first before I played Uncharted 1.
No. And even if you... Because I played 7... 7's actually the second. I played 1 first, but that was so many years ago.
When you were a little kid, yeah.
Yeah. That's so many years ago.
Game is involved.
I thought it was a great story. I thought the way they... with the caveat of it being a Resident Evil game, it was a great story for a Resident Evil. Like the way they're able to take, monsters and turn them into Resident Evil characters is I just thought they were clever about how they did it. Yeah, they're always. I think the people at Capcom are clever at what they do. They're campy and they're cheesy but they do take the time.
Cheesy in the right way is what we're saying. Though. It's fun.
Even if it's a narrative dump at the very end of the game where you read fucking 75 different letters, they do explain away everything, why they did this and why they did that. So I thought it was a great story. I had so much fun. It made me keep playing. It made me sit down and do 4-hour chunks and 5-hour chunks. You know.
And you also had a lot of fun playing with Seth. Seth watching you play.
Well, Seth's the one that kept me focused. He's like, Dad, you got to play it tonight. And then he'd turn off every light in the house and he'd sit down with his blanket and his popcorn.
It's cool to see my little cuz, JJ's son, enjoy that with him. That's the cool part is they play and watch a lot of games together, which is really cool.
Well, he's 11 now, and he's starting to get into horror movies, and he watched me play The Last of Us. He watched me play The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima. He'll just sit there like it's a movie, and doesn't necessarily want to play. I might make him play the RE games
once he gets used to it.
Yeah.
I know they can get frustrated sometimes. I'm gonna go with a solid story. I think this was really solid for a Resident Evil game, and really excellently designed in a lot of ways. The callbacks to 7, but just also the callbacks to all the way to fucking 1. Like right when you get to the end of the game with Chris, spoilers, oh my god. You get to play as the boulder punching asshole himself, Chris. Heavily ripped Chris too. For a guy that's like 50.
Man Chris.
Oh, like a 50-year-old Chris. His section's excellent. It was really, really fun. Pain in the damn ass in Village of Shadows, but very fun.
I can imagine, man.
The best way to beat Village of Shadows difficulty with Chris, run. Just run to the end as fast as you can. Just run. Until you have to get to that Urias boss fight. But at the end where you get to the laboratory of Mother Miranda and the fact that it's connected all the way one, because you kept seeing these umbrella symbols. And if you guys don't know, Umbrella's the corporation in Resident Evil. They're the big baddies that have started the virus, progenitor virus, and they essentially started the zombie outbreak, in the mansion, Raccoon City. They've done this. They create tyrants, nemesis, these creatures because they like experimenting on humans and trying to control the undead. 7 took a very interesting direction with mold creatures, with mold actually being the catalyst. But when you read the pamphlet at the end, that Oswald E. Spencer, the original creator of the progenitor virus in Resident Evil 1, was inspired by Mother Miranda and her use of mold. But he's like, no, I want to do viruses. I thought that was, I'm like, damn, that was beautifully intertwined. And he stole their logo. He made the Umbrella logo. Very, very cool. Nice callback. Chris Chris smoking that cigarette at the beginning of his campaign is a callback all the way to the original bad ending of Resident Evil 1, but it was only in Japan, not in America, where he lights, because they had a lot of live action moments in that game, which is funny as shit. If you go back and look, like it looks great. It holds up decently well, but especially the Wesker, the guy that's like Wesker with his hair up and shit. It's funny, but the Chris before he took steroids, all the way back in RE1, he in the bad ending when you don't save Jill in RE1, when he gets into the helicopter, he lights up a cigarette, but they banned it in America, because smoking's bad. That's a callback all the way to that. That scene is so awesome. It's a really fun Easter egg. In Nathan's home, when you read the Kendo, you read like John Kendo, like his brother or something. It's not related to Kendo from RE2 remake. It's like his older brother or something. He wrote a book. That was a funny, a funny nod. There was another nod with the Trevor family. In RE1 remake, there was this newer mutated creature called Lisa Trevor. So that's a funny Easter egg to that. Like, the callbacks to this game were excellent. Not just only to 7 with Ethan's story, and when you find out Ethan is a mold creature, that essentially he died. Jack Baker killed him when he stomped on his head in Resident Evil 7. But he regenerated. The mold took a form in him, because Mia's kind of a mold creature too, a little bit. She was affected by the mold. You stab her in the head several times in RE7, and she survives it, obviously. But that was amazing callback, man. Like, the fact that, you see Evelyn telling you you've been dead this whole time towards the end with the Mother Miranda boss fight. Wow. And then Mother Miranda, her whole purpose is what? She wants to bring her daughter back, who is essentially looks like Evelyn, right? Looks like Eve. It's so awesome. Those moments make this such a great, solid story. Probably one of the best RE stories out there. But man, I couldn't help smiling. And again, I don't want to be so biased in the sense that, but these moments stick out to me, being a long-term
your friends,
a long-term fan of Resident Evil, and seeing this series grow and each iteration changing. And I hope they do a Code Veronica remake, and I hope they do a Dino Crisis remake down the line, because we know RE4 is coming. This game heavily inspired by RE4. Even Ada Wong was supposed to be in this game, but they cut her out, so it'll be interesting. We'll talk DLC later, but the story is really solid in this game. I really digged it. Especially, let's talk about the bigwigs, the lords. What was some of your favorite moments and favorite lords out there? Who was your favorite lord in general? I know you weren't super thirsty like the internet for Lady Dimitrescu.
No,
you're more into fly creatures, apparently.
Yeah. I thought her daughters looked pretty good.
They were
my favorite. Well, just in terms of the gameplay, my favorite story beat was the Donna Benevito. I like how the game completely. It's like when we played It Takes Two, how it has those different moments of gameplay, where the game totally takes all your weapons away and everything, and it's a shift into you're just doing puzzles. You're trying to get out of this house. No weapons,
puzzles.
Yeah, it's trying to, you're reliving past moments, and because she has a flower that poisons you into hallucinating.
Yes, it's a drug the pollen makes you hallucinate, and it was excellently done. It's interesting when you read some of the concept art. Originally, that whole doll puzzle was supposed to be a mold creature of your wife. And you were supposed to dig out and I wish they would have went with that. That would have been so excellent. And, obviously...
You're a sick man.
Yeah, I know. I love that shit. I love that. That's some of that, the goofiness is Resident Evil, but some of it, the crazy goriness is Resident Evil.
The guttural.
Yeah. This whole dollhouse moment is very excellently constructed, and it's so well done is that it's another callback to the original version of RE4 that never got made. That was the original RE4 was gonna have like some ghosts and it was gonna have some dolls attack you. It took like 20 years, but it finally happened. You have dolls that actually attack you in Resident Evil, so it's a fun little callback to that. And plus, probably the scariest moment for most people in the game is, you know, the baby fetus. It's so excellently done. The 7'5" baby fetus of your child Rose, where the crib breaks, you go down the well, the crib breaks, and I love watching people's reactions because it is a scary thing. Did you get killed by that thing, by the way?
No.
Me either.
No, I was able to kind of avoid it.
Have you seen the death animation? You literally get swallowed whole.
Ugh.
Like the baby just eats. Oh shit! Like I am a stealth guru and master now because I beat it 3 times. That it's like that first time though was excellent. Lou was watching me play, and when the baby busts through the door the second time, he was like, "Oh shit!"
Nah. I'm more creeped out by like dolls.
Yeah.
So the whole sequence is pretty. Like all that Annabelle shit, and I don't like any of that.
They were definitely creepy ass dolls, and I liked the. What was the doll's name? Why am I forgetting it?
Angie.
Yeah. I like that. Like her head split apart, and there was like some tentacles and stuff, like parasitic stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And I also liked what the doll represented. It was a gift from her late father because she suffers from a mental illness. And a lot of this you'll miss if you don't dive into it. I was very meticulous. I watched JJ's playthrough. I looked at his trophy list. And I noticed that he didn't get a lot of the miscellaneous trophies that I did. I fought a lot of the sub-bosses and stuff in this game, and I loved it. It was so fun. And then I got every single treasure imaginable. I got rich. Got rich, bitch. Got rich, bitch. But I don't blame you. That whole segment of the Belladonna, I see why that's a lot of people's favorite because it's excellently designed. Again, when you have the 3D audio, the lights flicker, the freaking window, not the window, what's it called? The painting drops.
Yeah.
All that. The door creaks open. You know what it really reminds me of, and I love the fact that this is still a real possibility, is that Capcom definitely was heavily inspired by Kojima's Silent Hills PT demo. If I know a lot of you can't play that anymore, go watch it online. It is an incredibly haunting. It is the scariest thing I ever played. I remember I beat that demo like 7 times, and then I got my Astro A50s. I never played it again. To the point where I forgot to download it and fudge myself, where I can't download it anymore. But that RE7 and 8 are definitely inspired, especially this dollhouse. It screamed to me, especially with the fetus baby, you know, PT. And there's a lot of rumors this abandoned game is Silent Hill and with Kojima. It's fun. The internet is exploding. People want to know. PlayStation is going to have a new, PlayStation is going to have their E3S type show soon, sometime in July, quote unquote. So we'll see. It's interesting, but I'm sure Capcom didn't want to hear that, but they definitely got inspired. They went first person, not only because A, VR, but B, they saw that PT demo gotten viral and blew up, and they definitely went in that direction. Because after RE6, they were probably in La La Land. They didn't know what to do, probably. But I think they hit a home run. Like I said, it was the start of the redemption arc. And it's blasphemy. I still think there's going to be a VR version of this game. How is this game not in VR? How is Resident Evil 8 not in VR?
It's what made 7 one of the scariest games I've ever played. You play it in VR, and it
changes everything.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I think this one should be in VR. It's the first person kind of does, like the survival horror games. I think it does it a little more justice. Like you said, it's more intimate. Where
Ethan Winters.
Yeah, you play like what is it called? It's like Outlast or some shit. Like what's that game called?
It's Outlast. Yeah, Outlast.
Yeah. Those games.
With the camera?
Crazy.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. That one's creepy. That one's really scary too.
But yeah, PT. That's a good comparison. PT. I never got to play it personally, but I watched someone.
Well, you're a lucky friend. You'll be haunted for the rest of your life.
I like the. You play hide and seek with the doll Angie at the end, and then you stab her with the scissors, and then
you find out that's all a hallucination.
It wears off, and you've stabbed Donna Benedito in
the attention to detail. The first time you're running around, you probably don't notice it, but you see the blood of the wall of her getting stabbed.
Yeah.
Where
it's
so excellently done.
It's so good.
My two favorite lords is definitely Lady Dimitrescu and Heisenberg. I felt like those two areas. You're so
basic. You like Starbucks too, don't you?
Those I don't drink coffee. I like those two areas the most because I found those the most intriguing. I'm not talking about the characters just themselves, but their area was really fun to play, especially the first time around. When you're getting chased by each daughter, you got to figure out you got to kill them by cold, and then she gets really angry each time. She's kind of stalking you, kind of like Jack Baker, Nemesis, Mr. X, which is really fun. It's really fun, even though you could technically just defeat her by a coffee table by walking around the coffee table over and over again. That area was so fun. I know a lot of people really love that area and wish the whole game was just that. She's actually quite a small piece of this game. And then Heisenberg's area, his mechanical army of inhuman monstrosities were excellently designed. Pretty messed up. They had the little fan dude as a mini boss. Really well done. I liked him as a character in general. He's very campy. He's always in space. Stupid psycho doll. He's like Magneto and stuff. He's like, shut the fuck up. He's telling the giant fan guy to shut up, and you're sitting. He's like, I said sit. It finds out to be that he hates being here. He wants to kill Mother Miranda. He wants to team up with you because the whole job of Ethan is to, get these flasks, right? Get these flasks of your baby girl that have been chopped up.
Somehow into 4 flasks.
Which is funny. Which is another hint that Ethan's a mold creature. His baby's split into. She has power, quote unquote. When Lady Dimitrescu takes his blood, she's like, "Oh, it's kind of going stale."
Yeah.
That's another sign. How he can regenerate parts of his body and stuff. The fact that he can still fight somebody with no heart. His heart gets ripped out at the end by Mother Miranda. But I like the fact that Heisenberg was like, "Dude, you're being played. Let's team up." And he's like, "No, I don't care about your family drama, bro." Classic lines from Ethan. And he's like, "You don't want to know what's down there." He's like, "I'll take my chances." And he goes, "Your funeral." That actor that played him was excellent. The actor that played Heisenberg, shout out to him. He played Nikolai in Resident Evil 3 Remake. So they got a lot of those people from Resident Evil 3 Remake to play in this game. And I love the campiness of the characters, Like, they all were unique and fun enough that they're memorable in their own way. But I thought those two stuck out the most, and I enjoyed those areas the most. Even though my first time through Heisenberg's factory, I got lost a little bit. I got lost a little bit, and I was like, "Where?" Yeah. I'm like, "Where am I supposed
trying to get to where I need to use the key at and everything
to get the ball puzzle for me too?" I'm like, "What is going on? Like where?" But obviously, I know it now. But that's probably the only kind of confusing thing. Let's talk about obviously the main character, Ethan, Mia, and Rose. Like, how'd you feel about the family?
You don't want to talk about the water guy? That's the only one we didn't talk about.
You can. I don't think Moreau is as memorable as other ones. Like, he's
super pathetic.
He's the one below. Like, they treat him like, they call him ugly. That opening scene with the Lords is great. When they're fighting and bickering like children for Mother Miranda's attention, and they do the very 90s bad guy thing. Oh, let's just let him escape. Like, just kill him right there. But it's a video game, you gotta have some...
They always play with their food. Like cats.
And the same thing with Chris. So, Chris could have just been like... I like how they bring it up. his team brings it up at the end of the game. We're like, hey, you should have fucking told them, dude. Like, you should have told them what's going on. You know, because there's a reason Chris acts that way, you know, when he was really pissed off at the end where, you know, Ethan, quote-unquote, sacrificed himself. But let's talk about the characters first. What'd you think of those three?
Well, Mia's not a big part of this one. Like, she dies at the beginning. It wasn't really her. But, and then you find her at the very end.
Being alive.
Yeah. So, Mother Miranda can... What is it called? What do they call it? Mimicry or some shit?
She could definitely transform to anybody. That's
her
powers.
They were super disturbed when they found out she could be a corpse.
How long has she been there?
I'm guessing since they got to lunch, when she found out about Rose, when she could feel and sense Rose.
Okay, so you think Mia still had Rose? Okay, like a lot of people are thinking the opposite. You know, maybe Rose is Mother Miranda.
No,
and we find out at the end, Rose has a lot of powers. Well, not even at the end, just before that. Baby Rose was stealing powers from Mother Miranda. Even Heisenberg's like, she's afraid of Rose. You know, I have a trench coat.
I have eel organs.
Moreau's story is interesting though, because the parasite affected him very harshly. The Cadeau parasite, he basically was trying to keep it under control as much as possible, but it was breaking out and deformed him, and he was in charge of essentially creating.
Yeah. Let's go.
He essentially created the lichens and the hybrid form, the Valkyrac, which the Alpha Valkyrac, which was when you first see that thing charge you and just rip you to shreds, it's amazing. Which is lichens getting a spinal ejection of the Cadeau parasite blood or something like that.
Aren't the lichens the failed, like Mother Miranda tried to do it on all the
villagers? Exactly. She's trying to find
they're the failed
lords.
Ones.
Yeah.
Someone strong enough to put Eve in. But none of them were.
Yeah, they weren't, and then she got lucky that there was some affinities, right? Heisenberg probably has the best affinities because he didn't really get deformed, right? You find out Lady Dimitrescu, she has to drink blood, otherwise she can't control it anymore, and her body deforms and ages. And she's also growing very tall. She's 9 foot tall in this game. Yeah. Mother Miranda's been around for 100 years, messing around.
Yeah.
With this village and mold and trying to find the right infinity for a lot of people. Like I said, it affected Belladonna with the scar in her eye, like the parasites in her eye. Where Moreau, he got really deformed and really infected, and he really loved Mother Miranda. Like, he loved her. Where Heisenberg didn't care. He, like, Lady Dimitrescu called him out several times, like, hey, he's gonna turn on you. Lady Dimitrescu, after you kill her first daughter, she loses it. She's like, F the ritual, I'm gonna kill him. You know?
Yeah.
And then Belladonna is very quiet, reserved, doesn't really care. She
talks through her doll.
Talks through her doll because she has a mental illness, and her father gave her that doll, so that's the only attachment she has. She's been very mentally abused and abused her whole life, but it's what I really like about these characters. They're interesting. And then Ethan, find out he's a mold man. Mia's alive at the end, and then Rose. We're gonna talk DLC and the ending of the game in a second. But what about Chris and the Wolfhound Squad? How'd you feel about what was you? This is probably your second time seeing Chris. And him having facial body reconstruction surgery because he
was a young man in 7, and now he's super old in 8. I think there's a DLC in between that I didn't play.
No. What happens? Capcom has this problem. they tend to redesign their characters all the time. Instead of just sticking how Chris would look. This is how Chris actually looks like from 5 and 6. So it fits the actual Chris that we know. He looks exactly like Rip Chris, boulder punching man. And
I think my initial reaction when you get your heart tore out and you become Chris was Levi's gonna love this part, and I think I said that to Seth, and it was a lot of fun, man. Getting all those new weapons and just mowing through Lycans was kind of...
You definitely have the power.
Made you feel a little bit stronger. You're like, oh shit. So I like Chris's section. I think I'm more of an Ethan guy, but I liked Chris's section.
I love all the callbacks to Chris. I mentioned some of the stuff earlier, but I love the fact the biggest story in 6 was Chris lost his whole team in Europe. He was murdered by the terrorist organization that was working there. And that was kind of his story in 6, is trying to get over that. He became alcoholic. He wasn't a good leader anymore. And he was going to, kill himself at the end of 6. So I like the fact that you see that still affects him in this game. Again, some of you won't pick up unless you play 6 or play 5. The fact that he still couldn't let that go, and he felt like he failed Mia in the mission because Ethan died. He didn't want Ethan to sacrifice himself at the end, even though he's a mold man. And it's really a really great callback to the game, because he punches the damn plane and he's like, we gotta go. Like, he's so pissed that he felt like he failed the team.
Why didn't the plane explode, though?
What happened?
Why didn't the plane explode when he punched it?
Yeah, I know, right? Because he's so damn strong. But the plane was reinforced with titanium alloy that it could not be punched through like a boulder. I like that reference too. Like, it's just obviously a funny nod. Like, there's no chance in hell that Heisenberg knew that Chris punched a boulder in RE5, but it's just a funny nod to that game where, that final boss fight in the volcano. Spoilers for RE5 now. Or he punches the boulder to get through, which it's funny. It's hilarious. But it's a funny nod, and I like the lore of Chris. Again, the funny thing, the beginning, you gotta kind of get over because it's, dumb. Ethan, no! Stay out of it. Then Moreau say, you stay out of our mission, Ethan. It's like, what is going on? Somebody tell me.
What did Chris expect when he shoots your wife in the face, your wife, and takes your baby?
Yeah.
Are you just going to be like, yeah, go for it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ethan, no. It's like my
no, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like, dude, fuck you, dude. You just killed my wife. You take my baby. No explanation. Like, you moved us here. You moved us here. I like how that's explained, too. That it's taken an effect on them a little bit. That they've been living in this new European aesthetic. Something happened?
I just gotta let Kevin in. He won't shut up.
But I'm interested. The most interesting part is Chris used to work for the organization BSSA, and he formed his own unit and left it and called it the Bloodhound or the Wolfhound Squad. So I'm interested.
Wolfhound.
I'm interested to see where they go, because they all have the names Alpha, like Umbra, all these wolf names. I'm interested to see, as you hear Kevin in the background, I'm interested to see if that's potential DLC down the line. But we'll talk more about that in a second. Let's talk about the pacing really quick. Like, how was the pacing for you compared to 7?
I think for our game it was awesome. I mean, it's made to be replayed, right? So it keeps you get enough story. I think they could have did bits longer. Lady D seemed, like you said, that one seemed fast. And that was, I guess that's weird, because that was a lot of their marketing for this game was around her. The
internet loved her, dude.
Yeah. You didn't even know, like, I obviously you want to keep some stuff to yourself, but for her to be the first boss and everything was a little strange. The marketing. Come here, bud. But I thought it could have been a little longer certain parts. I thought Heisenberg was pretty okay. I thought that one did all right. I think the other bosses are really quick. The other three.
Yeah, like Moreau and Belladonna definitely are really quick areas, and I thought the pacing was pretty good. I thought it got a little too fast. I thought the roller coaster ride got way I was quite shocked because I spent a good chunk in Lady Dimitrescu in the Heisenberg factory, but once I got out of Lady Dimitrescu, I'm like, all right. And I'm like, damn, the Belladonna house was quick. Like, I did it, like, in an hour and a half, maybe, an hour. But it was excellent. It was really masterfully done. And then the reservoir definitely felt like there could have been more. That was probably the weakest part of this game was the reservoir in general and Moreau. I liked him as a creature, though. He was a cool creature. And I like how he thought he pranked you. He's like, what? He's like, Ethan's like, why are you laughing, fish man? He's like, I got you, man. You're an idiot. You thought I'm the idiot, but I got you. You're the idiot, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, he could morph like bubble wall. You know, he could transform a little bit, too. Like, you could see the parasite. That scene's great. He's throwing up everywhere. He's like it reminded me of the Halloween, a Treehouse of Horror, The Simpsons, when they made that frog guy and he just throws up everywhere. That's exactly like who Moreau is. He's just throwing up everywhere. So I thought it got a little too fast at points, and then it slows back down towards Heisenberg again. And then it kind of, you know, it's kind of quick again with Chris, and then kind of quick again with Mother Miranda. It's interesting to see. I know a lot of people are going to be like, because of time, and they took out so much of this game that it hurts the game. But like you said, the replayability of it is it makes it fun. It makes it really fun. Really excellent. I don't think it hinders the game too much. I do agree with you. I think there could have been some longer moments. I actually thought all the boss fights were pretty excellent. Even the Belladonna one. Like, it's not really a boss fight. It's more of a chase thing. So maybe that could have been reworked a little bit, but I didn't hate it like it was when it was over. I enjoyed. I was like, oh wow, that was all kind of in my head. Like, that's kind of interesting. That's a really interesting moment. It's really well done. Let's talk some of our favorite moments before we go on to like our dislikes and stuff like that. What were some of your favorite moments in this game?
Seeing Duke for the first time was kind of strange. I know we didn't talk a lot about him, but
we should. You know what? That's a good point.
Merchant.
He's probably the best character in the game overall. I think the Duke is excellent, and his connections to this lore, because he's definitely a mold creature himself. He doesn't even really know.
There's no way he doesn't.
You can find a note with him doing some dealings with Lady Dimitrescu, and it fell apart. And then he's very helpful of telling you where everything is, and he also has his own sigil. Like all the lords have their own sigil, so maybe he was a lord at one point.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. He at one point in the game, I think he was probably a fifth lord.
Yeah.
But he is funny. He has references to like
RE4.
Yeah, the merchant in that one. They're buddies.
What are you buying?
Yeah.
Everybody remembers the merchant.
I liked him as a character, and like you said, there's something special about him. He's because he's like 992 pounds in the smallest carriage you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And he just pops up places like you. And like you said,
the bedroom. Yeah.
When you first go into Lady D's, and you do the look at the sign-in book, he signed in and he was there doing dealings, and so I thought I liked him as a character. He not so much like comic relief. There's a little bit of that, but he definitely catches you off guard, especially the first time.
That's a good way to put it. Like, he kind of has that a little bit. He is a little bit of the kind of like you feel safe for a second. You know,
it's the safe room. Yeah, when you see him, it's the safe room.
I could buy some stuff, and it definitely is because that room that room Lady D never goes into. She just
No.
ignores it. Very much
Yeah.
so. But yeah, he's excellently designed. Very funny. Very charming. He has a lot of quirks. He knows these characters very intimately. Oh, is this Lady Demetress, Crystal Essence? Like, that waistline.
Torso.
Yeah, that waistline. Oh, I can still feel Heisenberg's essence through this. More. Is this really Moreau's? Like, they say the Beauty and the Beast or something like that. Angie. Like, he loves the person.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll do some interesting nods. Like, he'll have the Cadeau parasite in his hand, or he'll have the doll, Angie's doll, like, in his hands. Like, he'll do some interesting. You could try shooting him, and it doesn't affect him. He'll clap, he'll giggle. Make sure you don't waste your ammo, Like, he was an excellent, good point. I can't believe I didn't write him down, but the Duke was excellent. Probably the best character in the game. I loved him as the merchant. Nice callback. Again, this game, they're hyping you for RE4 remake. Like, they are. Like, it's all so much RE4 in it.
Didn't they make this one and the RE3 remake pretty much the same time?
Capcom's a huge company. They outsourced RE3 remake. RE4 remake, after they saw the reviews of RE3 remake, they took RE4 remake a little more seriously and took it back in-house. Kind of like what they did with RE2 remake. Like, RE2 remake took a long time. That was like a 5-year game. And that's why I still really think RE can really shine as a third-person game. RE2 remake proved it. The thing I like, and I was telling Lou and I was talking to Rollo, shout out to Skip to my Lou and Rollo, fans of the show. I was talking about them about the cross-gen thing and how Sony's satiating both parties, the PS4 and the PS5, with these cross-gen games, and how it's not that big of an issue. I know, a lot of people are very purist, like, oh, you're not getting the pure power of the PS5. And technically that's true, but we're 7 fucking months in. Like, we're 7 months in. Like, we're not even, the PS5's not even at its peak and it's rolling right now. But what I'm getting at is Capcom did the same thing with Resident Evil. RE2 remake, RE3 remake, third person. First person, RE7, RE8. They're satiating both fan bases at the same time without stepping on each other's toes. And it's the same thing what Sony's doing with cross-gen at this moment, which is smart, and it makes much more sense for everybody to do that right now until more PS5s can be in actual stores and be there. But man, I think they've done a great job at that. Like, now RE4 will be third person again, and then this is a trilogy for sure. They're doing RE9. It's going to probably be first person. Probably going to be with Rose, or we'll talk in a second here.
Well, Ethan's done.
We'll see. We'll see about that. I got an interesting
It does say at the very end, Levi, the father's story is done.
It's done, but he could still be a big part of the story. His role, he can still have a nice role in the story.
In her heart, yeah.
Yeah. Which is interesting. That's a great point. But, I mean, his role could still be very different. It could still... We'll talk about that ending in a second.
What, Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Let's go back on track. I apologize, we were talking Duke, but JJ brought up a great moment. What are some of your favorites moments in this game? I know you mentioned the dollhouse already.
I like the dolls. I like puzzles, so that one was fun. I love the nod to RE7 when Lady D cuts your arm off again. Or your hand. You always lose this hand.
That's crazy. That's a great scene, by the way. It's so good. It looks so great.
She can grow her nails at command, and they're sharp as fuck. I think a lot of my most favorite moments was in that castle. I like the design of the fly creatures, and the scene where you're trying to save that girl in the village, and her dad becomes a lichen, and
that's a pretty good scene too. Like, the Louisa house.
Fuck!
Yeah.
Everyone dies around me.
I'm a bad man.
What's going on?
And that village definitely went through some hell, for sure.
And then the beginning of the game with the Lycan rush is pretty good. It's a lot to take on at once.
It's a traumatizing experience for sure.
Yeah. So those are some of my favorites. I liked the Dollhouse. I liked Lady D as a character was fucking. The voice actress was great.
Yeah.
Watching her through her window being a real creepy perv.
I like. I love the part too where she bends down and catches you, and he's like, "Oh shit." And he's trying to act tough. He's trying to act, and she chokeslams and she's like, "You damn man thing! You're touching my daughters! You're in my house!" And she chokeslams you to hell, like literally. And she's like, "I'll get you!" Like I love those moments. Like again, like you would go and be like, "Okay, A, he should be dead," or B, like, "Okay, that would really fucking hurt," you know. But you find out there was a lot of hints that he's a mold man, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
his limbs keep regenerating, quote unquote, and stuff like that. Some of my favorite moments were not. I mentioned the lore. That was probably my favorite moments overall. All the callbacks to RE1, 4, 5, 6, RE7, of course, like the antique coin. You find the antique coin from 7, which is cool. If you go into a specific cave, what they find out about, the true harbinger of all this mode, the Megamycete, something like that, is the true culprit. It started that breakout, like Evelyn in 7. Is it Evelyn? It's Evelyn, right? In 7?
Yeah, they call her Evie, I think.
Yeah, like she, or Eve or whatever, she is an offshoot of the mold of the Megamycete, which is a organism that can harbor everybody's thoughts and minds like a collective conscience, and that's what Mother Miranda is trying to do, is recreate her daughter through that, because she lost her daughter. And Evie was a close success, but still a failed experiment. It's interesting reading all her failed experiments, even with her children. She still views them as failed experiments. They're not compatible. But the boss fights were excellent. I really liked all the boss fights in this game. I love the Heisenberg boss fight and how campy it is, where you're in this tank. I know it's a lot of people, like JJ made such a great point. It's very action centric, but damn, it was just fun though. It was just so good. Well, it was really
his particular section was very actiony, but you have, like I said, the Benevito section is puzzle based and intimate and scary, and so they did a good job of balancing action with. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say horror. But
RE2 Remake definitely proved that they still could do an excellently designed horror game from beginning to end. And again, I do have problems with RE3 Remake, but I still enjoyed that one. I thought it was really fun. I still thought Nemesis was very scary in that, especially since you couldn't just hang out in safe rooms. You could hop in. Yeah. That was very excellently done. But man, like some of the acting moments, meeting the Four Lords, meeting Heisenberg in his factory, who tries to make a deal with you, seeing what, like, I don't know if you found this area in his factory, but there's a tape recorder, and he talks about how he kidnapped a 20-year-old drunk villager and how he just performed this horrific surgery on him, and it succeeded, and that's how you create a soldat. Masterful, like, voice acting on all parts of the game. Maybe except for Ethan a little hammy with Ethan a lot of times. But I like that. I think it's funny. I think it's cool. The puzzles were great, like you mentioned. I was really impressed with the graphics. Like, the RE engine is so damn excellent. Like, it is a beautiful work of effing art, like the RE engine is. And I'm blown away by how realistic. Obviously, they're getting realistic models now, and they're putting them in games and stuff. But man, they look really good. The lighting's great. The sound design, those are some of my favorite moments. Is just all those things wrapped out together. I do like the Chris's part where you just, unlimited power. You just feel so strong. unlimited power.
It's almost as close to unlimited ammo as you can get without being unlimited ammo.
When you get back from the reservoir, if you go back to Luisa's house, there's an Alpha Valkyrak, and it's a trophy, and you get like 90K for killing that thing.
Oh yeah.
And
I didn't have the explosive rounds to do those.
Oh man, I fought all the bosses. Also, right before Heisenberg's, where you go to the stronghold to kill all the Lycans. I do like the Lycan stronghold. That was really fun too. That was really fun
cool too. Yeah.
But there's an offshoot, and you find a butcher. You find a place where they have like an actual. It's not a butchery, is it? I don't know what they call it. A chop house. Chop house. That's probably what it's called.
Slaughterhouse.
A slaughterhouse. There you go. Find one of those. Right. I don't know if you saw that. If you go left.
I don't think so.
I explored every inch of. I just love this game. But there was a slaughterhouse right before you walk into the. Go straight, or Heisenberg's like, hey, go to this Lycan stronghold, which you don't know at the time is a Lycan stronghold. You think you're fighting Heisenberg or something. But you go left, and you find this slaughterhouse, and you find this giant Axeman, and just what he's grinding up and killing people. And you kill him, and that's a fun, interesting mini-boss fight, too. And there's another one, if you get the slab, you have to get the slab after you get from Belladonna's place.
I did that one.
You find another giant Axeman, and you fight him too. It's really fun. The mini bosses are excellently designed. The Alpha Valkyrak is excellently designed, which is probably the most terrifying freaking creature imaginable. This giant four-legged werewolf. It's what you think of when you think of like a traditional werewolf movie, like American Werewolf in London or something like that, where it's a four-legged, where these other ones are two-legged beasts, Lycans, but mutated Lycans that are like to the point they mutate so much their jaw rips, and like that's such a great moment. There's so many great moments in this. A lot of, like you said, a lot of Lady D stuff where she's like body slamming you, and you killed my daughters, like very intimidating force. Then she turns into a giant dragon, which is great, which is excellent. That's a fun boss fight. Let's talk about, before we end it, on future and where it's possibly going. Was there any dislikes or improvements you feel like you could have did in 8 a little bit?
I'm sure there is. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think the game could have been a little longer. I mean,
yeah,
the replayability does help, where it does, like, when you play, every playthrough is not going to be the same. You can learn maps and where to go, but you can get different guns and ammo, and a
lot of unlockables in this game too. I like that.
But
too.
I mean, $70 for an 8-hour, 10-hour game is a lot. But it like,
was it 70? I thought it was 60.
Oh, this one might have been 60, actually, yeah. I don't remember. I think I paid for wasn't there like a digital deluxe edition?
You probably did, yeah. Go
ahead. But I
excuse me, I apologize.
I will play it again, and I just think there could have been more. Ethan's one-liners could have been a little, like, I think, like you said, his voice acting wasn't the strongest. Just certain sections could have been longer, but all in all, man, it's a very solid video game.
Yeah.
I have no true complaints.
I think some of Mother Miranda's and not Mother Miranda, I'm sorry, Lady D and Heisenberg, I wish they were kind of probably more in the game a little bit more, because I felt like they were the best two lords. Also, their first time playing through their sections of the game is very fucking confusing. It was confusing for me for a while. It took me a while to. I do love about RE is when you grab everything, it turns blue. I do love that. I like that a lot. But the lockpick was confusing to me for a second. I thought I grabbed one. Oh, I got unlimited lockpicks, and I find out. Oh wait, no, I don't.
So they break. Yeah. They break right away.
I'm like, whoops. Which, once I understood it, I liked it a lot. I liked the upgrading system a lot. The guns were really, really excellent. I I think they chose the right amount of guns. There's maybe one more sniper rifle. There's not very many improvements I could make. Maybe change the Belladonna boss fight, a little bit. But I do like the meaning of that boss fight. That it's a hallucination. The whole time you're in this house, you're just high on life, or pollen in this case. All the creatures were excellently made. The well wheel stuff you can travel back and do other stuff. They had the Duke could cook food for you, increase your stamina, increase your blocking ability, increase your health overall. I got all those maxed out before I went to Village of Shadows mode. That helped a lot. It didn't feel like it, but it did. It did help a lot for sure, and it definitely helps on casual. Like casual is just a cakewalk. There's not much I didn't really like. I just there could possibly be some tweaks here and there, but there's a schedule. You got to get things out. There's potential fun with DLC. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a second. Let us know in the comments section down below if there was anything you could improve upon. All right, let's talk about future. And let's talk first, before we talk ending and all this, I want to talk, is this a Game of the Year pretender or contender, JJ?
As of right now, contender. I mean, we'll see how the end of the year shakes out, but it's another very strong game. I think this Ratchet and Clank, It Takes Two, those are very strong games that Sony has put, or It Takes Two is a question, but so is RE, but I think this is a strong contender.
Returnal will be up there.
I guess in the sense of what you're saying.
If it's actually winning, if it's actually winning.
No, then it's a pretender. I don't think it wins. Yeah. I think it can be nominated. I don't think it wins. I guess I go pretender. I think it's a really good game. I don't think it has a chance to win.
I'm 100% with you. I think this is a pretender. I think it might get nominated. I think it has a good chance to get nominated, but it's definitely a pretender. I know we gushed about it for an hour right now.
Yeah.
But there's something. This is not like RE2 remake. This RE2 remake was masterful. It was so well done, well made, and it was completely new in the sense that it was not even, it's a reimagining of a lot of things.
It made a very old game feel very new.
Yes, and it was new because a lot of it was very different. And that's why when we talked about the Demon's Souls remake last time, that's why I'm not putting it on there, because that is shot for shot the same. It's like Crash Bandicoot and stuff, where Final Fantasy and RE2 remake, they went above and beyond. They changed the stories almost completely in a lot of instances of those games. And like I said, RE2 remake was their highest rate. It was a 92 meta. This game has an 85, 84. I was actually shocked. I thought it would be a little bit higher, maybe 86, 87. It's going to be interesting to see. Like you said, the second half, it's too early to call, but I mean, there's possibility Returnal's up there, Ratchet's up there, RE8, Cyberpunk, maybe. Are they going to view Cyberpunk highly now? I don't know. That didn't get nominated because that missed the deadline last year, right? So is that going to make it? It Takes Two is a sleeper hit. It's the gem of the year. But it's probably also a pretender. It's really interesting to see. And I don't want to make it sound like pretenders are such a negative thing. It's a true honor to be nominated for Game of the Year. A lot of people get too wound up and too hyped up about winning it, which it doesn't really effing matter. As long as it's your Game of the Year and you enjoyed it and you had fun.
That's what it comes down to, 100%.
It's what it is.
Still, right now, It Takes Two is my favorite game of the year. It was the most fun I had playing a video game this year.
I think. Go ahead.
It just is. Though it's not the most technically sound and just like that, but it was fun. It was fun for me. So that's what it comes down to. Did you have fun playing the game? RE8.
Yep.
I had so much fun. Much fun.
My two favorites right now are definitely either P5 Strikers, RE8, and Returnal. I think Returnal was excellent, and I need to beat it. I'm gonna beat. My goal is to platinum it this year, and I'm gonna do it. Damn it! To show my new power and dominance. That game from Housemarque, and congrats for them being acquired by Sony. Was an excellent, refreshing experience. Space Grandma was definitely very fun. Very fun game. Very well designed. Has some issues, but I think it's in the conversation for Game of the Year for sure. I don't know if it's contender or pretender yet, because again, we got to find out what shakes out, and I think we're going to talk about Far Cry 6 and some other games down the line pretty soon. But let's wrap it up and talk about ending and DLC.
Where's Seth?
We're on the walk.
Where is he?
He went to the park and walking back.
Alright, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm just making... I don't want to...
You're good.
He's 11. Stephanie Chung, go on the walk. Let's talk about ending and possible setup for the future and where they're going to go DLC-wise. Let's end it there. This ending is very interesting. Like you said, the father's story, quote-unquote, is done, where Ethan makes the biggest sacrifice. He saves his daughter without a heart. He can't make it. He's molding up. He's crumbling. He tells Chris to take care of my daughter, And then explosions. Boom, boom, boom. Then you see an interesting scene of Rose being older. Like 16. Like 15, 16 older. Which is interesting. And I'm interested to ask you this. As she goes to put flowers on her father's grave. And they're... her caretaker comes by because it seems like she's part of a squad with Chris now. Like duty calls, she says.
It felt more like Secret Service, like they're watching her to make sure.
Well, she goes duty calls, so it makes me sound like she's using her powers to help.
Well, they're training her, but I don't think...
Yeah, with this bioterrorism, because that's what Resident Evil is. It's all about bioterrorism.
Because if you listen, they do have, like, a sniper somewhere to take in case she goes...
they know how powerful she is. And she goes, she goes, I would do things to you that Chris doesn't even know I have the power to do so. And the guy's like, I got a shot. And he's like, she's just a kid. Let her go. And he goes, you're a lot like my dad. You're a lot like your dad, And they drive off, and you see Ethan walking up to them. I don't know if that's a vision or what's going on. It's probably a vision, or he could potentially did the Duke pick him up and revive him.
Well, this is how I took it. That's the metamycete. How it controls everyone's conscious, and that still lives inside of her.
Yeah.
So I think she can. No one else saw him.
Yeah.
She can see his consciousness and shit.
Ethan is because you can actually go in photo mode and look at the model, and it's Ethan, 100% him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's in her head, or did the Duke revive him with the megamycete?
It's in her. I think it's in her head. It's the metamycete. She can control.
Well, I want to.
It's part of her.
I want to stress this out. Is this really a time jump, or did you catch what you read in the beginning of the game, or did you read it in the beginning of the game? Do you think this is far into the future? Is this really Rose at 16 years old? Has 16 years really gone by in this game?
I didn't know. I'm assuming so, but I didn't read. I might have read what you said.
There's a document in the house in the beginning of the game saying Rose was growing at an extraordinary rate.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't think I don't think we're gonna see 64-year-old Chris or whatever. I think because they're going to BSA Europe to try to probably solve this DLC possibly wise, which we're gonna talk about DLC in a second. I don't think she clearly is growing at a faster rate than usual. She was a lot bigger than she was supposed to be when she was born. So there's a few documents saying that. A lot of people took it like you said, face value, huge time jump. And I originally did too, until my second playthrough where I read that document again, and I was like, Oh.
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, so she's growing up quick. And Evelyn had a lot of scary ass powers. She played an old lady in RE7 remake. Mother Miranda could transform.
That actually makes so much sense because she was actually the old lady. That wasn't her playing a character. She was the old lady, but she would fuck with your mind to make her look young.
Yes,
so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
She could just be going. It could be 2 years in the future, and she's already that big or whatever.
Rose also is more powerful than Mother Miranda. Was stealing her power. Mother Miranda could literally disguise herself as anybody. She was the old hag. She was Mia. She could do anything she wants. She transforms very easily with no problem. So it's very interesting where they're going to go with this. What do you want to see DLC wise? Because we're getting it. They confirmed it.
I'd like to see the in between of what Chris does, like you said, BSA. What that entails, how Mia and what does that entail for Mia and Rose and stuff like that. But I don't know. The DLC is always, there's always like a Chris chapter or.
Yeah, we got 2. We all what did we get for RE7? Like 3 or 4 different ones, right?
I thought there was more than that, but yeah.
If you count the banned footage, there's like 6, right?
Yeah. There's like even the aftermath of Louisiana, seeing what Ethan, but I think that might just be boring though, because they really said he got military training, so it's not going to be anything exciting.
I kind of would like to. This would be interesting, but I would kind of like to play as some of the lords before they transformed. Because Mother Miranda's been around for 100 years. I think that'd be interesting to see how Lady D turned and how Heisenberg got wrapped up in this and turned. How Moreau, what he looked like before he turned into that thing. Belladonna, a little kid. I also think, because they're going to do multiple, I would love to see, like you said, the Wolfhound Squad, maybe that mission before this, because they mentioned that they were somewhere else before Chris and them arrived, and Chris left the BSA. We find out the BSSA are using bioweapons now, right? Biohuman beings, zombie humans now. So he's not working for that organization anymore. So what took over? Who's running the BSA now that for Chris, the organization that he worked for, to leave? And what's that mean for Jill, who was with him, who worked in that same organization, and all these other characters? Ada Wong, Leon, right? Are we going to see the cut content of Ada? Are we going to see maybe her secret mission through here? There was no clues or anything of that. I think that'd just be a fun little Easter egg for fans to get hyped for 4. But we did see her character design. She looked like she was wearing a Bloodborne style outfit in here in the village. So she was originally intended to be in the game, got cut, but I don't know. There's no trace of that at all. It'd be interesting to see some of the lords. There's a lot of different places that they're gonna go, and I expect these to be a little meaty too. Because the end of Zoe was pretty long, and so was the other. What was the other big one with Chris? I forgot that one was called.
I don't remember.
But very interesting. Let us know down below what you would like to see with RE8. I think it's definitely a must cop. It is one of the funnest games this year to play. I want to thank my cousin JJ for joining me on the Spoilercast. Hopefully I didn't take up too much of his time. We had a lot of fun. I'm close to the plat. I hope JJ does replay it again and have some more fun with it. There should be a lot of rumors of State of Play coming out pretty soon. I'll have another video or 2 this week. Happy 4th of July if I don't get that video out. I do want to talk about the acquisitions of 3 new studios Sony's got. One got reported today too. I do want to talk about them getting Housemarque, Bluepoint leaked, which we all thought, JJ, Lou, and I already thought they were going to do that anyway. And then they got this studio called Nixes, which is a Dutch studio that does PC ports. So I think Sony found their PC port studio. They just bought it. There you go. And some possible ones in the future. I think Sony's not done by far. But I had a lot of fun with this game. It is the village is very excellent. Characters, story, fun, personal fun. Like 7 and 8 are really damn fun games. They're really well made. I will always love the 3D action Resident Evils, but I'm glad they're kind of satiating both parties there, both style of RE fans like JJ that are pretty new to the series. You know, the 7. This trilogy ending is going to be interesting. I forgot to mention, are we going to play as Rose or not in 9?
Yeah. I think that's where they're going.
Yeah. I think they're definitely going to BSA Europe and figuring out what's going on there.
She's gonna have crazy powers. We're gonna be able to
That's gonna be interesting. You're right about that.
Mind.
Like, are we gonna have actual powers we can shoot out and use? Completely different direction. But hey, we had a lot of fun playing it. I hope you guys and gals are playing it. Smash the hell of the like button. Comment down below. Appreciate all the love and support. Thank again my cousin JJ, my sweet cousin, for helping me. I've been your fellow Strauss fan of the GG, and JJ, we're outie.